Why do I travel solo? Why do I stay alone here in Malaysia? There's a couple reasons. For one, let's start here. I'm a YouTuber, and so I'm pretty much working 95% of the time. I'm trying to stay focused and motivated on my work more than anything at the moment, focusing on health and my work. And so I feel like no matter what, traveling with people, at least for me, I tend to lose some motivation, lose some focus. And yeah, it always has made things difficult for me to stay on track when traveling with other people. Now, I've never traveled with a partner. I am single. I've been single for a long time. And so I've never really had that experience. Maybe that's something that I would do and, could be a more productive thing than traveling like with friends, with other creators, for example. But in my experience, traveling with friends specifically, or even living with friends, like back home, it's a challenge to stay focused. It's very difficult to stay focused. And so for now, I've kind of committed to solo travel, staying alone, traveling alone. I get to manage my own schedule. I get to do things on my own time, do things when I want to do it, go where I want to go. And it's just nice. It's really nice. I'm an introverted person for sure, like very introverted person who likes to also be social sometimes. So maybe an introverted extrovert or vice versa, whatever one is more introverted. But yeah, I do still like to have some level of social engagement, at least on the weekends or something like that, especially if I'm grinding and working all the time. I do feel like I need some type of social escape or interaction on some type of regular basis, but not at home. And so that's the biggest reason I travel solo. And I've had a few, opportunities to travel with other people that I've met here, that I've met in Thailand, other YouTubers, and I haven't done it. I haven't done it, as much as I am happy to collaborate with people. I think actually traveling and staying in the hotels or condos, it's I will choose to stay alone. And I've always sort of been that way. And so it just kind of carries over into my travels. When I was quite young, when I was I believe it was when I was 20 years old, I took my first overseas trip, my first time traveling. And at that time I had a good bit of money. I was less concerned about money than now, at least. And so I took a 20-something day trip to Europe, and we had 30 people from New York City and Philadelphia in a big group traveling together. And I gotta say, that was a very cool experience. That was awesome, It was also my first time leaving the States, and my first time traveling besides traveling within my country, within America. So it's my eyes were, wide open for that reason. It was very cool, very interesting. And some of the people I was with were more traveled. Pretty much everybody was more traveled than I was at that time. It's quite typical in New York, especially people who actually grew up in New York. So I grew up in Philadelphia, and if I was a city kid, and a lot of these people, their parents have a little bit of money, it's they are already used to traveling. They've been traveling their whole life. They've been traveling with their family. But for me, it was a new experience. And so it was one of the best times I've ever had. Went to Amsterdam, went to Croatia, went to Berlin. It was just a really cool trip. And that was the only time I've ever really traveled with a massive group. And I think nowadays I would consider it, but not for 20 something days. It would feel a little bit too I don't know, I wouldn't be able to really be fully free and go where I want to, right? You can always separate from the group, it's not a problem, but it was very much group activities, and we all stayed together in the same homes. Like we rented massive houses and stayed there all together. And so it was a cool experience. I think it was a unique experience to have, and I'm glad I had it. But I think from that point forward, it's like I traveled a few more times with like 1 or 2 friends, you know, and yeah, it was fine. But I think after those experiences, I really recognized that, okay, I'm much more free when I'm alone. I'm much more free when I'm traveling alone, you know. And whenever I would travel with people and I had the opportunity to kind of venture off by myself, oh, it was such a good feeling. It was like, I was like, this is what I want. This is, you know, it made me want to move overseas. Very quickly, I was like, I want to be able to do this all the time. And so that's where my interest started in leaving the US and moving overseas. You know, I wanted to move to Berlin, actually, which I ended up moving to Berlin. Stayed there for around 2 years. And I would have stayed there much longer, but it was not hard for me to get a visa. And I overstayed by 2 years, like, you know, I'm only allowed to stay there 3 months, and I was there for 2 years, I guess illegally, yeah. And I don't recommend that to anybody. I was kind of in the process of getting the visa the whole time, trying to. Sorry, we got a little music here. I don't want to yell over the music. Thought it was better to just point the camera. But yeah, I ended up following that dream of moving to Berlin. And yeah, I went solo. I didn't really know anybody there initially. And that was the place I probably made the most friends. I was like the most social. You know, I was much younger. I was out and about in a big way. I was clubbing. But good time, you know, and it only furthered me wanting to explore the world more. You know, I kind of knew very quickly after I kind of had to leave Berlin at some point, and I was getting concerned about getting into trouble with depending how long I stayed. Now, I ended up finding a route to leave, essentially, that was like let's say a safe route that I got stamped without any problems, you know, no fines, and I didn't get banned from Germany. But I knew, okay, I'm gonna go back to America for a bit, and like I want to figure out the next plan. You know, what's the next move for me? How can I travel full time, basically? But I knew that I wanted to do that alone, and so yeah, here I am today. I mean, I moved in November, 6 months ago. I left New York, and yeah, since then I've just had a few opportunities to travel with people, and people reaching out to travel together, basically. Now, a lot of these are people I don't know, and so of course it's even more of a, it's not gonna happen because like I said, I'm very introverted, so the idea of booking rooms with people that I never met is like, you know, to me it's just not going to happen. But I think if I did get into a relationship and it was somebody who like had freedom as well and was very much the same type of person who liked to travel, I think that would be cool. That would be interesting for me, especially if they were keen on doing content with me and being a part of the channel, something like that. That would be fun. It would be exciting, I think. But besides that, you know, I'm not that interested in like, you know, traveling with groups or something. I think here and there it could be cool, you know, do 1, 2, 3 day excursions, still have my own room, you know, call me bougie, but I like to have my own room, my own space. But yeah, those are the main reasons why I travel solo. It's just like, it's my personality type. Hello, sir. Good, thank you. Yeah, it's my personality type. I think for some people, it's like they would never think to travel alone, or they would just be way more inclined to always want to travel with friends. You know, I put up a poll in the community tab before, like, how do you like to travel? I think the options were like solo, with a partner, with friends, or with family. And so I think it was quite mixed, you know, pretty evenly spread. I think when it comes to like traveling with family, I think that's another thing that would be cool for me. You know, if that does come about in my life, especially where I can eventually, hopefully, afford to, you know, like move my family here, move my family to Southeast Asia. I think it would be cool to do some traveling together, since that's something I've never done. We've like gone down the shore, you know, we call it the shore, the Jersey Shore. Maybe you know, there was a hit TV show, reality show called The Jersey Shore. If not, go check it out. Go check out a trailer or something. I mean, it's very entertaining, very ridiculous show, but it's set in the place where like we would go vacation to the beach. You know, it's borderline like, call it trashy. It's borderline like it's not nice or fancy or anything like that. It's a low grade beach boardwalk, and like, but it was amazing. It was like the best thing for me as a kid. You know, I loved it. It was like my favorite thing in life was going down the shore, not even just going to the beach, but like leaving home 2 hours. You know, we drive with whoever, with my mom, my dad. They are separated. Like my grandmom. It was just such a good experience. It was, to me, so fun to like leave home and experience this different place. It was so cool. And so that's like what started I think in my mind, wanting to see new things, travel the world a little bit. But if there does become a point where I can travel with my family, that would be very cool to me. I think most people think similarly. If they're close with their family, especially if they have a big family, if they have brothers and sisters. Like I have one brother, he's a half brother on my dad's side. Yeah, it would be cool. I don't see him that much now. You know, he lives back home in Philadelphia. If there's a point where we can travel together, that would be a blast. You know, that would be such a new experience for me, and like I think a fulfilling experience for me. You know, the older you get, the more you like tend to value family, and realize, I think, the importance of family. And so, yeah, as a kid, it was more like, oh, I just want to meet friends, and I would love to go down the shore with some friends. Forget family. I don't want to be tied to family. But now it's like, it's changed. It's the opposite, actually. You know, those are the people you're most comfortable with as well, at least for me. So that's like how I plan to do things in the future. I'm going to stay solo traveling, keep doing the YouTube thing, try to visit as many countries as I can. And if I can, at some point, meet some other YouTubers, do some excursions, maybe travel with a few friends that I meet along the way, day trips, weekend trip, and then travel with my family down the line, and hopefully introduce them to you guys on the channel, and hopefully, you know, that becomes a thing at some point. I know it will, even if they don't end up moving out here. At some point, I will be able to bring them out for a trip to visit, and I will surely put them on camera. But yeah, I wanted to make this video because I know a lot of people ask me why I'm always alone, assuming I have no friends or something because I'm always filming alone. No, it's just like I'm a full-time YouTuber at this point. I'm traveling alone, and it's of course much easier to make videos alone as well, especially with the type of content that I do. So yeah, I have friends. I have Malaysian friends. I have Thai friends. I have friends back home. I have friends in Berlin. And when I go to these places, it's like, it's very nice to go see them, especially when I first arrive. But it's not something where every single day I'm hanging out with people. It's just not, you know, it's more of a weekly thing. And I like to go out alone. I went clubbing for 10 years or more. Was very deep into like rave culture, club culture, going out in Berlin. You know, I was DJing for a long time, running parties. I was running a vinyl music label. I was very into like the house and techno scene. Not like commercial, mostly what you hear on the radio or EDM, or most of the stuff you hear in clubs here. You know, I'm very picky with my like music because I was engulfed in it for many years. And yeah, I would go out alone and I would just meet so many people that way, and it was very cool having the sense of freedom, meeting new friends. And then when I would go out in a group, we would just kind of stay together, you know. It was the opposite. It was very much like, especially like my friends from New York, it's very much like, oh, don't talk to me kind of vibe. It's not, it was kind of like, we are in our group, we're going to stay in our group, other people are staying in their groups, and so I didn't like that as much. I never did. And I know some people think it's strange to go out alone, the idea of going to a club, a party, whatever, alone. I think once you do it and you start to do it regularly, at least for a certain type of person, you can really enjoy it, and you will enjoy it more than going out with your friends, you know. Sometimes you want to go out with friends, of course, but I don't know. For me, I'm a lone ranger a lot of the times. It's just how I roll. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video about solo travel, why I've been alone, why I'm here alone. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a thumbs up for me. I would appreciate it. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.